Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs this morning on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown my Descendants and Zombies videos. One of the reasons why I became so revered were because of my Cameron Boyce tribute videos that I was uploading on my YouTube channel following his passing, which really shook every Descendants and Zombies fan to their core. We have never forgotten the memories that Cameron Boyce left behind in his legacy, because that's really what he left behind and left us with, is a legacy. And I think that the greatest honor that we could ever have is remembering Cameron Boyce through his legacy and through his heart that he left behind. His contributions to Disney Channel, his contributions to Descendants will never ever be forgotten. And I really do believe it was a time when time really stood still and allowed us to take a step back and put our lives into perspective and take into consideration how valuable and how precious life is, because it operates on the most precious commodity, which is time. Because time never fails to run out. Nothing lasts forever in this lifetime, and it's the memories that somebody leaves behind in their legacy that they've carved and spent their entire life carving for us that we remember them through. I remember how Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson wanted the best for everybody and wanted Cameron Boyce's legacy to live on for forever. And because of me, and because of all of you, they will get exactly what they want, because I will always upload as many Cameron Boyce tribute videos as I possibly can for every single person who loved him so much. If there ever was a beloved Disney Channel star, it was Cameron Boyce, regardless if you remember him on shows like Jessie and Bunked, or his contributions to Descendants as the character Carlos, who became ultimately the most beloved character in the history of the Descendants legacy. Cameron Boyce forever and always touched the hearts of everybody he worked with and lit up every room that he ever walked into. And he really left an everlasting impression on everybody's heart. The thing about life is, eventually what enters your lifetime is that eventually one day you have to die, and it's all about the memories that you carve and you leave behind. The impression that is everlasting that you leave on somebody's heart. You can either go out by being an asshole, or you can go out by being the best ever. And you can only try to be the best ever. But I think in everything that Cameron Boyce did in his lifetime, he was ultimately the best and everybody's favorite, because he was someone that you instantly fell in love with for how he was able to touch your heart and how he made the most out of every opportunity he had to entertain and make somebody laugh. I think that there was one honor that he always wanted to have. It was making you smile and making you laugh and making you enjoy every single moment that you watched him on Disney Channel or for whatever you remember him being. I really do believe that Cameron Boyce was one of the greatest of all time, and he was so appreciative of every moment that he was given, and that he was offered to be in our lives as an entertainer, to put a smile on our face, regardless of how we remember him. I remember how honored people like Peyton List were on the set of Jessie and Bunked to work with him, and she could never stop tweeting enough positive reviews of Cameron Boyce. While Cameron Boyce may have been receiving a lot of criticism for everything he did on the set of Jessie and Bunked and for Disney Channel ever before, having the opportunity to cross over and become a part of a Descendants franchise which became so revered, everybody just thought the best of him and really wanted to work with him. I think everybody wanted to work with him because of how he could put a smile on everybody's face. And that's why when his death was announced, the world stood still. The world was put on pause. Life was put on pause almost instantly, just as fast as you could snap your fingers, because we realized at that moment that nothing lasts forever, and life really is the most precious commodity because it operates on time, and it's all about what we do with that time. But for his short lifetime, Cameron Boyce really left an everlasting impact on everybody's life, and he will never ever be forgotten because of it. His birthday, May 6th, will be a date in history that will be remembered by all Descendants fans. And the date of his passing, July 6, 2019, will forever be remembered as the day the world stood still. I was sitting at home on my couch looking at it on my phone, and I couldn't believe that the hearts of every Descendants fan had been broken. And my heart at that moment went out to each and every one of you. I wasn't recording videos at that time because I had a lot going on in my life, but I wished I could have been there for stars like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, because they were just getting their lives started. And nobody should ever have to deal with that at such a young age. Now, I know Dove Cameron's been dealing with it ever since the age of 8 years old, so it's somewhat become accustomed to Dove Cameron to have to deal with that. But I really believe that the pain that these stars had to endure losing their very best friend was something they should have never had to go through at such a young age, because you're just really getting your life started. And what do you know at 19 years old? You don't know anything. You just know that your life is beginning and you don't know where you're headed. So it's really a hit or miss for everybody at that age. like many of you who are probably watching this video at this moment, thinking about, you don't know what's going to happen to you from one moment to the next, but that's what makes life so unpredictable and so precious, is that we don't know what's going to happen to us from the moment we leave our house every day and embark on our journey, because that's what we're on, a never-ending journey, seemingly. And I think that having to endure this pain was something that they didn't really understand because they were so young, because nobody should ever have to go through this at such a young age. I lost both my parents when I was just 19 years old, and it was the most difficult thing that I ever had to go through. So I wanted these stars to know by creating this YouTube channel that they were not alone, and that the love and support that they were searching for forever, which pretty much took them their entire lives, could be found and seen on this YouTube channel, because I go above and beyond for every fan of Descendants and Zombies, if you haven't already realized that. I think everybody who's been subscribed to this YouTube channel for what feels like forever, or must be what feels like forever, realizes that I go above and beyond for every fan of Descendants and Zombies, talking about the moments that people like Cameron Boyce have left behind in their legacy. Because really what Cameron Boyce will be remembered for is a legacy where he impacted so many hearts and changed so many lives. This month we will celebrate Halloween on October 31st, and I remember a Halloween special where the stars of Descendants went through a haunted mansion, and Cameron Boyce took the most of this opportunity and turned it into something special. There's a video on YouTube of this where he goes to this haunted mansion. I forget what it's called, but I remember seeing it on many social media accounts every time around this time of year. And it's everybody's favorite moment, especially the Halloween specials too, thrown in there that Cameron Boyce was on Jesse and Bunked many years ago. I remember the Halloween special of Jesse. It was really funny. It was really entertaining because of Cameron Boyce. But it goes back to saying, how I was saying how he always made the most out of every opportunity he was given, and how he just had fun with everything. It was almost like he wanted these moments to last for forever. Now, I know I don't record as many Cameron Boyce videos as I used to, but I make a habit of doing it because I want to remember his legacy, just as I want to remember every moment of significance in the history of Descendants and Zombies, because in the history books, there are so many moments of Descendants history that we never forget about, that we always want to talk about, and there's so much of a history with Descendants and Zombies characters that you can really go on for forever and ever. But I think it's not just the stars of Descendants remembering Cameron Boyce that have had a significant impact on all of our lives. I think it is the stars, the celebrity world, who are remembering Cameron Boyce that will never ever be forgotten, that makes this so important of a date in history and a date in time. Because I talked about how I was never really the biggest fan of a lot of guys on Disney Channel from whatever era you remember being a fan of Disney Channel from. Because there were a lot of guys that I was never fond of. Ross Lynch, the Jonas Brothers, I've talked about them time and time again on this show because they were so unappreciative of every moment and every opportunity they had been given. But Cameron Boyce was one of those guys that I could never seem to say enough good things about because I was really fond of Cameron. I was really proud of how far Cameron had come, how he had taken something that started as a whisper, Descendants and Zombies, and turned it into a global phenomenon because of his legacy that he left behind. I will forever present the argument for you guys of how he should go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, if not one of the most revered. If you can always have people like Miley Cyrus standing on stage accepting accolades and achievements for being some of the greatest of all time, for being the youngest Disney legend ever in history, then Cameron Boyce can present that same convincing argument. And I think one of the Descendant stars, be it a Dove Cameron or a Sophia Carson, could come back to reprise the role to honor him. I think about that tribute they gave him in The Rise of Red. It was very appropriately done. He was very deserving of it, but I think he deserved a lot better than what he got. A 4-minute tribute did not showcase how powerful of a character and how significant of an impact and an impression he left on all of our lives. I think a lot of people paused the screen at the moment that happened and thought about, how good of a tribute it may have been, but how better of a tribute it also could have been. Because I think you just can't showcase a person's legacy in just 4 minutes. Like how they do a funeral and they stand up in front of probably 500 people in the church and they say, this person will be remembered because of this, and how he or she put a smile on everybody's face whenever they stepped into a room, and they leave it at that, and they go to the graveyard and they say a prayer, and then pretty much they're forgotten about. The thing is, I think that there is a forever and always special place in your heart for somebody in your lifetime. No matter if you tell them throughout their lifetime how important they are to us, which I forever and always believed that everybody should make it an important time in their life to tell a person how important they are and how significant they are to them, because oftentimes people come into our lives that are often overshadowed by everything else happening in our lives, and we forget to tell them how much they mean to each other. I think if more people made a consistent effort to spread a message of kindness, to let people know how important they are to each other, I think that a lifetime would really be fulfilled. A lifetime would have more of a purpose, because it's all about the legacy that you leave behind. I have often been quoted on my show saying that my greatest fear was being forgotten about. But I know now, because of Descendants and Zombies fans, because of this galaxy of Descendants and Zombies fans that exists and stands before me, I will never be forgotten. And I will go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. When and how that happens, I really don't know. But if I can secure the futures of your favorite Descendants and Zombies stars through about talking about them, then that is the greatest honor of my life. I have often said that the greatest honor of my life was talking about your favorite stars and having the honor bestowed upon me to meet each and every one of you. Because it really was. Because without you, I'm just a guy on YouTube with no fans and no likes and no subscribers. But because of you, my legacy will live on forever and always, and will live eternally in each and every one of our hearts. And so too will the legacy of Cameron Boyce, because of the impact that he left on Disney Channel, Disney Plus, and as a Disney star on each and every single one of our hearts. I really do believe that he allowed us to put the broken pieces of our heart back together when we felt brokenhearted, when we felt like we were crying about things we couldn't make sense of. He always, never failed to put a smile on everybody's face that he worked with and everybody watching him. And I think that as his character Carlos in Descendants became a more definitive character and really evolved and really stepped into the moment, I think that his legacy was forever and always carved on each and every one of our hearts, and for sure on the hearts of Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson. I go back to watching their beautiful tributes on YouTube a couple of days after he had passed away, and they were reading off sheets that they had prepared statements on. And I thought to myself that it was very beautifully done, especially the tribute of Sophia Carson, which I can never give her enough credit for. Dove Cameron's tribute was very beautiful too. I remember the emotional breakdown of Dove Cameron, and I could never get that out of my mind or my heart. And I just wanted to let her know that, she's never alone. Because there are people out there in this world that are going through the same thing that are very similar to the death of Cameron Boyce. And there are people that just really can't make sense of their own life. But it's because of the people that are in their life that are forever and always supporting them that they get through this kind of thing. This is a very difficult thing to have to endure. And I just always wanted these stars to know that regardless of what circumstances they are faced with, no matter how many times they have to stand up and look adversity head on, face adversity head on, there are millions of people out there who love them and who will love these franchises for forever. And what's happening right now with the Descendants franchise, with Kali Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner and Malia Baker coming in to the franchise, Liamani Segura, and carrying on the legacy of each and every one of these stars, is exactly and precisely what Cameron Boyce would have wanted this to happen for this franchise, and would have wanted it to get to the point that it's at right now. Because Descendants and Zombies is at a point right now to take over. It has undeniably became a global phenomenon because of people like me and because of each and every one of you who support it and who love it and who create and who watch these videos. Because without each and every one of you hitting my like button or hitting my subscribe button, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably just be talking about some video game nobody had ever heard tell of, probably streaming it on Twitch, which I don't want to have to go back to doing, because I'd rather spend the rest of my life out talking about Descendants and Zombies for each and every one of you, and I think that's what Cameron Boyce would have wanted. I think that the tribute that they gave him in The Rise of Red in the first 5 minutes of the movie was fabulously collaborated. I think never enough nice things can be said about Cameron Boyce. I think he deserved a lot better than what he got, but for what it was worth, it was a beautiful tribute. And I think a lot of people remembered that tribute from The Rise of Red and probably watched it 100 times over because of that tribute, wishing he could have been a part of it. I remember the opening monologue of Descendants: The Rise of Red, how all the characters had ventured to lands from afar to spread the message of Descendants, and his name wasn't included. And they go off of that into this beautiful tribute saying this is exactly what he would have wanted. And I really do believe that the truest words ever said in that script were, this is exactly what he would have wanted. Having me sitting here talking about him this morning on my show is exactly what Cameron Boyce would have wanted. He would have wanted you to have smiles on your face for the foreseeable future, for the futures of Descendants and Zombies, because the smiles on each and every one of your faces is what will forever and always solidify the legacies of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars, which is exactly, more precisely, what I am here to do. Is to ensure that the smiles remain on your faces for forever, to give you hope about the futures of these franchises, so that they don't come to their dramatic conclusion like a lot of critics on YouTube are trying to convince you is what they're building up to and what's going to happen. I think everything reaches its dramatic conclusion but that is forever away, and one should not buy into what the critics are trying to convince you is going to happen with Descendants and Zombies. I really do believe that we can offer it more support, we can give more people hope out there that this franchise will last for forever. If there ever was a franchise that may be coming to its dramatic conclusion, but whatever had a chance to last for forever, it's the franchise of Descendants and Zombies. And that is exactly what I am here to do. I'm here to talk about it in the way it was meant to be talked about for a very long time, and to justify people like Cameron Boyce, to give you all hope that these franchises are far from seeing their dramatic conclusion, because I saw it for the Kingdom Hearts video game series years ago and I cried. I saw it for Hannah Montana years ago and I cried. And I don't want to have to get to that point with Descendants. I know it will eventually happen, but I'm trying to make sure it doesn't happen at least for another 50 years. Because I want people like Clarke and Malia Baker to still be singing Descendants songs and quoting Descendants lines when they're 40. Like Clarke expects she will, because she's so passionate about the franchise, because of people like Cameron Boyce, and because of people like each and every one of you who came up by the thousands at the Worlds Collide Tour and supported it, and have supported this YouTube channel, making it the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world, and everything Disney and Nickelodeon related, everything pop culture related. Thank you guys so much. I remember the day Cameron Boyce passed. It was almost as if time was paused and life was put on pause, because we didn't want to go on without Cameron Boyce, and the franchises didn't want to have to continue without Cameron Boyce. I remember the tribute, the dedication they had in the Descendants 3 movie at the conclusion of the trilogy when they closed the barrier. And I remember wiping a tear out of my eye, like I'm sure many of you did, because you didn't want to see Descendants get to that point where Cameron Boyce had pretty much been forgotten about after having left behind a legacy. Cameron Boyce will never, ever be forgotten. No matter how many times this franchise is faced with criticism, everybody has stood up in the face of adversity head on, and they have taken that criticism and they have turned it around into something positive. And that was because of what each and every one of you did for this franchise. You gave it hope, and you kept it alive for over 10 years. And that's what's so unbelievable about this franchise. Even in the death of Cameron Boyce, you guys kept this franchise alive for over a decade. And a lot can happen in 10 years. I remember having a conversation with my dad before he passed away, telling me that everything could happen in 10 years. Anything could happen in a decade. And what he was saying could have never been more true, especially with what happened in the course of the 10-year period of Descendants and its rapid ascension to fame. We witnessed the death of Cameron Boyce. We witnessed Dove Cameron saying goodbye and coming out as a bisexual by 2022. We witnessed Ruby Rose Turner depart ways with the franchise, which was an emotional time for me. We witnessed Kylie Cantrell's political point of view and her relationship status ending up in conversations it had no business being in. All the rumors derived about Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson and Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker and Ruby Rose Turner off of their friendships, which were beautiful. And we stood together throughout it all. We've seen the best of them come and go, making their exits and entries into the franchise time and time again, as it's forever been and always will be a revolving door. But in the light of all of its criticism, what outshined all of that was our love and support for our franchise that has forever and always meant so much to each and every one of our hearts, which makes this the greatest honor of my life, and perhaps this the best Cameron Boyce tribute video that anyone has ever collaborated for a YouTube channel, which I'm hoping is going to get a lot of likes and a lot of subscribers because of. I really don't know how far or how much of a reach this video is going to have, but I'm hoping it's going to touch a lot of hearts, because I think never enough nice things can be said about a celebrity such as Cameron Boyce, and I think that moving forward into the foreseeable future, we should make a consistent habit of uploading a video about Cameron Boyce more often than what we do. I think it's never good enough when you upload one Cameron Boyce video. I know there are people who have suggested I should probably do these tribute videos for Cameron Boyce more often, but I think that doing it once a year is never good enough. If you're going to talk about Cameron Boyce, then we should talk about him, and we should talk about him together to let everybody know that we're not alone. Because I know there are people who are die-hard fans of Cameron Boyce and ever bigger Cameron Boyce fans than I have ever been, which makes you the #1 fans of Descendants and Zombies in the world. Because you guys do know that you are the best fans in the world. I can never emphasize that enough or put a strong enough emphasis on how you are the best fans in the world. I say this because your love for Descendants and Zombies is undeniable, and it's unconditional. And you are what makes this YouTube channel exist. You are the reason this YouTube channel happens every day, and you're the reason why this YouTube channel will forever and always be here to talk about, because whatever you guys want to talk about is what this YouTube channel will talk about and derive its conversations because of. If you guys want to talk about Tangled, we'll talk about Tangled. If you want to talk about Phineas and Ferb, we'll talk about Phineas and Ferb. If you want to talk about Jesse and Bunked, then I'll talk about Jesse and Bunked. It's whatever direction you want to take this YouTube channel in. Whatever direction you're headed in, Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs is coming behind you, and we fully support you on this channel because there are a lot of people that you guys don't see that make this channel happen every single day for you guys. There are a group of university students who help me with the set. There are a group of university students that help me with the edits. I take their advice all the time. So there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes with this YouTube channel that you don't see. I have a Ukrainian friend who helps me produce this show all the time. I have a friend from New York who offers me his opinions all the time. So there's a group of university students who help me out with this channel, and I have never felt so honored to be able to bring this channel to life in a way that it's meant to be brought to life for you guys for a very long time, because I really do believe that if you're going to show up on your YouTube channel and you're going to talk about Descendants of Zombies, then you have to do it with heart. And there's a certain way to do that. It's to give everybody hope while you talk about franchises that you love so much, because I'm just like each and every one of you. I honestly don't know what's going to happen in Descendants of Zombies from one moment to the next. I just offer you guys my predictions on what I think is going to happen. And some people may think my predictions are cool, others may not care what my predictions are. But I'm just like each and every one of you, rest assured, and I don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next in Descendants of Zombies. My videos just, for some reason, have an incredible reach. And I've never felt so honored to be in your guys' presence. It's just after 10:39 a.m. this morning talking about Descendants of Zombies and remembering Cameron Boyce, because I think never enough remembrance can be offered to a star. My heart goes out to every member of his family dealing with this. The Cameron Boyce Foundation explodes every single year. Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson fully support that. My heart goes out to them after seeing those tribute videos where they have these emotional breakdowns, crying. It's amazing. You know, I've always and forever wished that I could have a girl in my life who would cry forever after I passed away and left a legacy behind, but I know that nobody's ever going to do that for me. So I think that's the greatest honor of your life, when you can touch a girl's heart, and then you can make her cry after you made her so happy throughout the course of your lifetime, like Cameron Boyce was able to do. But rest assured, Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson will get what they want, because Cameron Boyce's legacy will live on forever because of each and every one of you, and because of me. Because if there's one guy on YouTube who is forever and always going to show up and be on point about Cameron Boyce, about his reviews, about Descendants of Zombies, it will have to be this guy, because this is the #1 Descendants of Zombies podcast where we stand right now on YouTube, and it's the greatest honor of my life to be here with each and every one of you. It really is, because there's nothing else I would rather be talking about on my YouTube channel this morning than talking about the power of Descendants of Zombies and what it's powerfully represented for what feels like forever for many of us. And that's a chance at hope existing, and these franchises have even the slightest chance of lasting for forever and always. Today's conversation is revolving around Descendants 2, and I thought I would throw in a Cameron Boyce tribute video this morning because I haven't done one in a really long time. Again, it's really a hit or miss with me with these videos, because I don't know who's going to watch these videos, how many likes or subscribers these videos are going to attract, but I just throw them up out of respect to each and every one of you, because I believe for a very long time that you guys have deserved nothing but the best in the way of the reviews of Descendants of Zombies. And if there's one guy on YouTube who's going to show up and always be on point about Descendants of Zombies, because I remember being there in the moment and sharing in that moment with each and every one of you, I have never felt so honored to keep the legacy of Cameron Boyce alive for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. If you're watching this video this morning because you're a fan of Cameron Boyce, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. Show your love and support for this channel by liking this video and by subscribing to this YouTube channel if you're not a returning subscriber. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for having made me a celebrity overnight and your voice of Descendants of Zombies, because I honestly don't know where I would be without you guys, because this is really a moment in time. This is history that we are all a part of and going to be a part of for the foreseeable future. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much with all of my heart. I will have more great Cameron Boyce tribute videos on this channel uploaded for you guys in my archives, so keep watching for those. When they are uploaded, you will be notified if you are subscribed. And we have a lot of conversation where this goes with Descendants of Zombies. Thank you guys so much from my heart to yours, because Cameron Boyce will never, ever be forgotten. His memory will live on eternally in each and every one of our little hearts.